Have you ever wondered whether there's actually a correlation between having debt and being overweight? Do you feel that you should lose weight? And do you feel that you should save more money? Here's a question. Are these two thoughts related? Keep watching because this show today is really important. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Naumovski, host of Finance is Personal. Today's going to be a different show. Normally, I deal with financial literacy, but today I will examine food, weight, and body issues. And I want to ask the question, is there a relationship between body image and debt? Now, we all have a body that we're not happy with. We can all lose a few pounds, or we want something different. And we all have savings accounts that we would like to be bigger with even more money. Today, I want to ask if these two ideas are related and what can we learn about one to the other. I'm joined by Larissa Nicole, a personal trainer and transformation coach who's been very brave, and she's posted her body's journey on Instagram. Now, this has required some serious courage because it's easy to post Photoshop photos where we all look our best. Honesty and courage is what we all value, but how far are we willing to go? We all know that we should eat less, eat better, sleep more, work out more, spend less, save more, pay off our debt, pay off our credit cards every month, put money towards our retirement. And we all love sweets because they're so delicious, and impulse shopping is so gratifying. We all have body issues, even supermodels, and we all have money issues, even the one percenters. Now, we want to eat something delicious and we want to buy something fun. But how do we value the long-term consequences of all of this? A therapist once said that the best way to fight an addiction is to go cold turkey. But the problem with food addiction is that we can't stop eating. Cold turkey is not an option. And we also can't stop spending money to address our bad spending habits. These two issues are absolutely related. Today, I'm joined by Larissa, owner of Larissa Nicole Fitness, and she's also a transformation coach. So Larissa, before we begin, please explain what a transformation coach is.
Absolutely. I would love to. I get this question often. And the reason why I chose to call myself a transformation coach is simply because I can't fit myself into just one box. I'm a certified personal trainer, a soon to be registered holistic nutritionist, and I support my clients in ways beyond just training and nutrition. So it's a lot easier than calling myself a coach, cheerleader, mindset coach, trainer, nutritionist, and putting all of those boxes in there. So I call myself a transformation coach simply because I work in the full transformation. My clients don't just come to me with a training program. Problem. They don't come to me with a training problem. They come to me with a lifestyle change. They want to be able to change their habits and their routine, and they want to be able to feel more comfortable in their skin. And that just isn't just training, or that's not just nutrition. And so I call myself a transformation coach because I do deal in the full lifestyle transformation.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today, because when you look at financial literacy, what you are doing for fitness is the exact same thing that people need to do for their savings and emergency funds and their financial education. And I thought, there is such a similarity between saving your money, trying to lose weight, learning habits, which take 21 days, and discipline. And there's so much that they're very similar. And that's why I thought, okay, this is it. Because what you're doing as a transformation coach, the mindset and everything else is the exact same thing that you need to do for financial literacy and your money mindset as well.
Yeah, totally. I absolutely agree. I think that it's so important to look at things from the holistic spectrum, right? It's not just one problem area. You have to understand how there's a relationship with everything that goes on in your life, your choices, the way that you talk to yourself, the decisions that you make, your habits, all of it plays a factor into the overall outcome that you desire, whether it is in finances or in your fitness too.
And you know what? You're absolutely right. You're the way that you talk to yourself, because a lot of us have so much negativity in our head and we let that lead us. Yet we're the only ones that understand that negativity, and it just keeps bringing us down even more so. And we need to get into the proper, brain mindset to get us, to go forward. Now, after having tried practically everything for you before to lose weight for good, I mean, it could be overwhelming to think about starting over yet over again. It's the same thing as, saving your money and then losing your money and then trying to save again and being in debt again,
Yeah.
or even knowing what to start with. How do you get started in your journey, like your personal journey? How did you get started? And what advice can you give to those not knowing where to begin?
Oh, I love this question because it's true. Like I find that for me personally, having had such a history of yo-yo dieting and spending years and years and years of my life just trying all of the things and failing miserably at all of them, that it can be daunting to feel like after trying so many things, you almost don't want to start again because you're just fearing that inevitable failure. And while we can talk about all of the problems with the diet industry, and I'm sure we will at some point, what I can say to the respective like mindset and that fear of the potential failure or the fear of getting started because you're just not, the belief in yourself isn't there. The thing that's helped me and that I do encourage with my clients as well is to not try not to feel so overwhelmed by doing all of the things, right? We tend to bite off so much more than we can chew.
Mhm.
And getting started for most people, myself included, means like I have to change my diet. I have to change the way that I think. I have to change my training habits. I have to go for walks every single day. And you just start to stockpile and add all of these new things that never existed before in your life and your routine. And then we expect ourselves to stick to it. And it's tough. And it's not going to happen overnight. And so getting started to me and to my clients means just putting that next foot in front of the other. Perhaps that means like, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. So a small habit, right? Instead of maybe not prioritizing your rest and your sleep, trying to ensure that you get a good 7 to 8 hours each night. Even that small thing can make a significant impact in the long term. And so my advice to anyone who would just want to get started but doesn't even know where, is to start with one thing, change one habit and see how that goes. And then over time, you can start stacking and adding the next habit and the next one, and know that this is a journey and that it's not going to take tomorrow to get to your goals. It's going to take some time. But I'd rather people, and myself included, invest that time in themselves than just continually try to reinvent the wheel and then fail over and over again, which is getting them nowhere.
So, what's the biggest mistake that you see people make when they finally decide that they'd like to lose weight and become healthier? Because we all have certain things that trip us up.
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, something that I find come up a lot, especially when I'm in conversation with people who are just looking for more support, is the first thing that I ask them is like, what's your goal? And a lot of them, they say, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. And I'll say, no, what's your specific goal? Like, what specifically are you working towards? Do you have a deadline? Do you know like how much weight? And I find that a lot of people, their goals are very generic or very broad. Not to say that they aren't great. They're great. I want to feel good. I want to feel confident. Those are all great things, but they're kind of byproducts of you achieving that specific goal. And I tell people, my clients, I tell people in my community all the time that if you're trying to achieve everything, then you'll achieve nothing.
Yeah.
And so being very specific about what it is you want and how long it's going to take you is paramount to you actually going ahead and executing it. And specifically, actually, I take my clients through like setting a SMART goal. And this can be done with finances, this can be done in the workplace, and this can specifically also be done with your health and fitness. Like it has to be specific, measurable. So how much weight do you want to lose? Like, don't just say, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds. Put a number to it. It has to be attainable too. You have to know that it's something that's realistic. It's something that you can, you have proof of having achieved. So don't say, I want to look like Beyonce by tomorrow, because
That'll never
as
happen.
much as I would love for that to happen, it's not realistic. And then it's also got to be time sensitive too.
Yeah.
So you have to have a deadline. Otherwise, it's not going to be a sustainable and a concrete goal. And so that's probably the one thing that I would say is for anyone who's just getting started, the first mistake that people make is just not identifying what that goal is.
And I think that's the same mistake a lot of people make when they are trying to get rid of debt. A lot of people think they can just go it alone. And the thing is, we are surrounded by so many incredible professionals and so many different industries that we don't have to do things on our own. And a lot of people say, well, I can't afford, somebody to help me with my finances. I can't afford somebody to help me with my weight loss. But we can make it happen because not everyone charges the same. Not everyone
Yeah.
is expensive, and everyone is attainable just as everything is, right?
Yeah, and you also have to think about the cost of not making that investment too. And I think that this one is really important because it's something that we don't often consider. We work very tangibly. So we see that money go into somebody else's account, or we see that money being spent, and that's the transfer of energy that we pay attention to. But we don't actually think of like, what is it costing us to not invest in getting a handle on our finances? How much money are we losing by not paying somebody for professional help? Right?
And you know
How
what?
much?
That's key.
Yeah.
That's
It's the
really
same thing with
key.
fitness too.
Absolutely. Like I know that I need to work out every day to clear my head and get all that negativity and all the stress out of my head. That to me makes me financially fit because it
Mhm.
just keeps me on point, but it also keeps me physically fit as well. So it works both ways for me, and it's something that I need. It's something that I've done for my entire life as well.
Yeah, I find that a lot of the habits are interrelated, right? Between being financially fit and being physically fit. You have to have discipline, you have to have consistency, you have to be able to establish boundaries. All of these things can transfer in your ability to, for example, if your friend is asking you to come out for drinks, but you've set your goal and you know that you have a budget, depending on whether you're like talking about finances or fitness here, you have to be able to establish those boundaries. So much you would want to like just say like, yep, it's going to be so much fun, it's going to make me feel good in the moment. But if you've set that budget, or if you know that you've almost already spent your calorie bank for the day, then that same principle applies. Am I going to just keep saying yes and giving in and letting people take over my boundaries? Or am I going to say no because I know that what lies ahead for me down the road is so much more beneficial than that short term ease and gratification of having the drinks with the girls for dinner
But
after dinner?
when I was growing up, struggling, there were times where I couldn't put, I had to really, really budget myself, and I couldn't put enough food on the table for me, like to feed me. And I sent out an email to all my friends, and I said, guys, I cannot come out. I can't come out and play. I can't come out for dinner. I really
Mm.
have to watch my food. I really have to watch my money. And,
Mhm.
your friends understand. They're not going to pressure you and tell you, oh, you got
Yeah.
to come out, you've got to do this, you've got to eat this.
Yeah.
People are pretty good with boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that I talk about with my clients as well is just establishing boundaries, but also how to handle social pressure, which I think is really a factor in the way that we show up in both our health and fitness routines and also in our finances too. If in the rare event that there is that problem person, I call them like food pushers or like drink pushers, people who are just saying, you know what, like you're no fun anymore, or like, why don't you come out with us? Or it's just one drink, or it's just one whatever. You're going to find that with people who are trying to get you to buy more things too. No matter what in your life, there will be people. I'm not going to say that there's not going to be people that pressure you, but there's ways to deal with it and know that you can still establish those boundaries because it has nothing to do with you. And I find that a lot too, is that if somebody's pushing the food, somebody's pushing you to buy that thing, it has more to do with them than it has to do with you. And it could be that they're feeling triggered that you're trying to change who you are, or it could be that they want to feel better about themselves. And so like, let's rope them into doing those bad habits that we've been bonding over. It's a lot more to do with themselves, and being able to understand that and come from the mindset of knowing that it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the way that they view themselves will help you to establish those boundaries better and really uphold what you prioritize in your life.
Those are really good points. I was looking at your content, and you talk a lot about the fitness and health industry being part of the problem, with most
Yeah.
people having had experiences following some fad diets or gimmicky fitness trends. I mean, everybody's gone through some sort of a fad diet or take this and you'll lose weight, and there's always some
Yeah.
sort of a gimmick. Why do you think the quick fix mentality is just so tempting? Are we just that impatient?
Yeah, you know what? I think that it's just the way that the world works right now is that with the rise of like social media platforms and apps and like everything is just so instant nowadays that we tend to not realize how long it truly takes for transformation or for change to occur. We are scrolling on Instagram and we see somebody who lost a ton of weight and we think that it took them 2 days. Or we see that the ad that says that this person lost 30 pounds in 30 days and we think that that's actually realistic. And a lot of misinformation is out there about weight loss and sustainable weight loss at that. And I think that the same type of misinformation gets thrown away when it comes to finances too. They think that like self-made millionaires for that like respect too. We see people who are doing really well, they're really wealthy, and we think that it's like, oh, it's so easy for them, but it must be so hard for me. And we don't realize that the longevity of perhaps how long or how hard they had to work or what they specifically did to have to arrive upon those circumstances. We compare ourselves to everyone else in the world, and yet we don't just look inward to see that we are capable of achieving that same success. And I think that that's why I don't like any of the fad diets and the trends and all of that sort of stuff, because they're gimmicks, they're fake, they give you false hope. They're not actually helpful for you. They're not healthy for you. And same with like the get rich quick schemes too. There's so many of them out there, and they're not actually teaching you the core values or the habits that need to be in place in order for you to not only achieve that success, but maintain it and sustain it too. Because I mean, if we're talking about transfer of like the similarities between finances and fitness here, it's like when lottery winners have a ton of money just dropped on them, but they don't know the habits of managing that money, they're more likely to get rid of it. And same thing with people who lose dramatic amount of weight in a short period of time, they don't actually know how to sustain that weight loss. And so that's why I think that the sort of instant gratification or the quick fix mentality, it just sabotages you in the long run. And
It's interesting
sustainability is the
It's
best part.
interesting that you talked about, somebody who wins a lot of money quickly, because the statistics are, if you became a millionaire, and then you started buying everything, the block that you live in would go bankrupt with you, because everybody wants to do what the Joneses are doing. So it's that whole FOMO, the fear of missing out mentality.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you have one lottery winner in a neighborhood, it's unsustainable for everyone to try to outdo
That's
themselves.
wild.
And it's the exact same thing that you were just saying.
That's wild, but I don't doubt that either. Like I can so get behind that because it makes so much sense too. It's that sort of like herd mentality almost too. It's like whatever they're doing, I want to jump on that. And that's why there's so many people saying, "Oh, well, my friend did keto, so if they're achieving so much success, I'm going to try keto too." And then they fail, and then their friend fails, and then we're all kind of like miserable together. And it's this whole thing. Like if only we just invested that time more wisely in like learning the habits and understanding how to make it sustainable and last, and didn't attach ourselves to like being able to achieve like a 10-pound weight loss tomorrow, then we'd be able to achieve that 10-pound weight loss maybe in 2 months or maybe even 3 if it takes you that long, but then we'd be able to keep it off too, which is
it's not a tomorrow thing. It's not like, oh, the stress is really tight, I've got to lose 10 pounds by tomorrow.
Yeah, but we live in a world of like waist trainers and skinny teas and like telling you that it's possible, but it's such a pipe dream, and it's giving everybody false hope, and then it's taking it away. And like the diet industry is totally just leaving people dependent on the diet industry is like a $76 billion industry. And the reason why they are so successful is because they sell you the quick fixes. Yeah, you're going to achieve like it's that lottery, that quick win, right? You're going to achieve success in the short term, but then you're going to gain it all back. And then you're just leaving yourself dependent to repeat that cycle over and over and over again. And who gets the money? The diet industry, right? Same with who gets the spending, right? Whoever you're putting that money into, if you're not saving and if you're not healing that debt and like raising your capital in some way, you're just going to keep spending and spending and spending. and the problem is not going to get solved.
So instead of following one another, instead of following another extremely restrictive diet or diving headfirst into exercises every day, what would you suggest that women do to make sure their results are both sustainable and achievable?
I love this one. This is a great question because I find that it ties so perfectly in with the sort of commentary that I made first and foremost with the starting small and the small habits. Like starting small is the key to long-term sustainability. And so the opposite of diving headfirst into working out 7 times a day and doing some sort of quick fix, dropping your calories so unrealistically low, is to start small. So start with things that are realistic for you. If you are a full-time employee and you don't have 7 days a week to dedicate to working out, you know what's going to be the most unsustainable for you? Dedicating 7 days to working out. If you can only dedicate 2 or 3 days a week to training, and that's realistic for you, and you say, like, you know what, I haven't been doing that recently, but it's a sacrifice that I can and that I'm willing to make, then that's going to be the best way to achieving your goals versus trying to overcommit to things that aren't sustainable for you in the long run. Second, stop comparing yourself too. This is a huge one.
But
I tell my clients this all the time.
We compare ourselves to models or whoever it is. We all are comparing ourselves. Well, why does she look like that? And why don't I look like that? So,
exactly.
You do.
Yeah. And I mean, I blame the diet industry, I blame the media, but at the same time, we also need to take responsibility too, is that we're searching for outward validation and we really need to turn inwards. And this also ties into the whole goal setting and like understanding, getting really clear with what you want, how you want to feel, what that outcome looks like for you. And so as much as people do want to look like Beyonce tomorrow, is like, how can you be the best version of yourself? And what does that look like? Right. And being able to live that life every single day, day in and day out, instead of saying, oh, I want her abs, or I want like her biceps, or I wish that it was easier for me. It looks so easy for her. Like it can be easy, but it's got to come from here and it's got to come from you first. And so that's what I think is going to be the best way forward to making it sustainable, is design the life that you want to live. It all comes from you.
It's so funny because when I first really started working out, I wanted Madonna's arms. That was my goal, right? That was the goal that I was trying to achieve.
She's got nice arms.
Thank you. You've trained me as well. So there you go.
Yeah. And see, the thing is that Madonna's arms, sorry, I want to jump in here. Madonna's arms might be fantastic, but your arms are even better because they're yours and because you built them. Right. And I think that a lot of people tend to neglect that and tend to not give themselves enough credit. It's like the body that you've built will be so much better than the body of somebody else's because you built it. You made it.
Your own sweat.
Yeah.
Right.
You put in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, you know what? You're 100% correct. And we don't give ourselves enough credit for all the hard work that we've done to, whether we're saving money, whether we're working out, whether we're trying to lose weight. We really need to give ourselves a little bit more credit for all the hard work that we're doing, to give ourselves better lives.
Totally. It's all about prioritizing, right? Prioritizing your goals, prioritizing yourself, prioritizing your health. We have to start thinking about long-term versus that short-term quick fix. And so whether it's finances or fitness, it's like, how do I want to show up in a year from now, in 5 years from now, in
10 years from now?
Absolutely. So whether that has to do with finances or fitness, thinking about it in the long term and prioritizing your health now will help you to show up as that person in a year from now or later on.
Yeah, 100%. Now, in your coaching program, you teach your clients about the power of small habits, which, I think is really important. And you actually guide them through choosing and committing to 3 new habits throughout the course of the program. Now, can you explain why small habits are so important? Because everybody wants to just jump in and I want to do something big and I want to achieve something big, and nobody wants to do the small work. So what happens, would you say, someone who wants to get out of debt or lose 10 pounds, what habits do they need to possess?
Yeah, I love this question. I think that honestly, because we've been talking about small habits, it's such a good way of just identifying what that is, because we've been saying small habits, but what does that entail? And I think that ultimately, since we talked about goal setting and since we talked about being specific about a number, it's not the number that's going to get you the results. It's the habits that you possess and that you live day in and day out every single day. And so even though your goal is to achieve a specific number, whether it's in your bank account or whether it's on the scale, you have to put in place specific habits in order to get there. For example, for fitness or for healthy eating, you might want to like put a meal prep habit in place. Or for example, for your training, you might want to work out 3 times per week. But when it comes to like the bottom line of what those habits really entail, if I'm to compare them to even finances, they're all the same. It's consistency, repetition, discipline, reinforcing that positive behavior, validation or celebrating those small wins too, not sort of just fluffing them off and moving the goalpost. Because I find that we do this all the time too, is we don't celebrate our wins. It's like nothing, it's not exciting to us because we still have that like goal on the horizon.
Right.
But even that small milestone of I did this for every single day for a week and didn't fall off the wagon, that in itself should be celebrated. How often did you do that previously? If you're just changing your habits, then chances are you weren't doing that previously. So
Right.
that deserves to be celebrated. And so even those like small milestones and those small wins, they should be acknowledged. And over time, it helps build consistency. It helps build discipline. There's so many people that are relying on motivation nowadays. I hear this all the time. I don't have the willpower, or I don't have the motivation. And those things don't exist, because motivation is like this instant spark, this flash that just will pass us by. And when we feel motivated, we'll do something. But then when the motivation's not there, it's like we're looking for something to tell us to do it. But discipline is the thing that happens when the motivation has died down. You've had a really bad day. You come home from work and you just don't feel like working out, and you just want to dive headfirst into your Ben and Jerry's pint that's in the freezer. But you've developed the discipline to know that you need a healthy, well-balanced meal for dinner. You should probably do some sort of a movement or activity to move your body. And then you know what? You could treat yourself to maybe a cup of or a spoonful of like ice cream, whatever that looks like for you. And it's all about balance, right? But discipline means that you do the hard thing anyway. And I think that that happens whether it's in finances or in fitness. You have to develop discipline in order to see those long-term goals.
You know, a lot of people always say I don't have time, right? But you're 100% correct. Discipline. I schedule my workouts.
Yeah,
And
you
you would
make
know
time.
when you would see me, I would, come in after work out, take the subway home,
Yeah.
have dinner. And to me, that just becomes a part of my routine. And even now, through COVID, I do a virtual workout, and then I'll
Mhm.
cook dinner. And this is part of my day. And I have to tell you, like when I don't work out, I don't feel right. Like my mindset
Mm,
doesn't feel right. My body doesn't feel right. It's because
yeah.
I've been so, used to doing it for so many years that to
Mhm.
me, when I don't do it, I don't feel right. I don't feel disciplined. I'm missing something. There's something not
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. You went from having it be a habit to having it be a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And once it becomes part of your lifestyle, you feel like something's missing when it's not there anymore. Your body becomes so wired to do the thing, and it's almost effortless that you don't even have to prompt yourself anymore to do it, because you just feel like there's something missing if you don't.
Yeah.
And
It just
that's kind of
becomes
the
part of your
goal.
life.
Yeah, that's the goal that I try to get my clients to achieve, is that like this isn't just a 12-week thing, or this isn't just a program and then you're going to go back to returning to whatever habits or lifestyle that you had before. It's we are changing your lifestyle so that these things become so habitual that they're like it's not even second thoughts, right? You feel so much better and stronger and more capable because of these habits, and they've become so ingrained into your lifestyle that you wouldn't be the same person without them.
And you know what? That's the same. That's such a good point, because when you look at people who binge eat and you look at people who impulse shop, right? And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, I'm gonna be good. It's not like you're going to be good for a week or 2 weeks. This is a complete lifestyle change so that you're not binge eating or impulse shopping. You're actually, paying off debt, losing some weight, and, gaining a financial and healthy physical future.
Totally. I think that that's such a great interrelationship too. It's you're shedding the identity that you had previous to that decision, and you're becoming so much more as a result. So it's not about like what you're losing, it's what you're gaining, which is really important.
And one of the things that I love about you that sets you apart is not only do you coach people physically, but you coach them with the mindset. And I think that's really important. I mean, a lot of people just go, they'll work out, the workout's over and they leave. But there's so much about your mindset that needs to be, like, they need to be intertwined and they need to be on the same level playing field so that it's not just, your physical workout, but it's a mental workout as well.
Oh, absolutely. I was actually, it's so funny. I was on the phone with a client today, and that's one of the things that we chatted about was that she was telling me that she was almost able to get a full minute plank. And I was excited because this is something new that she hadn't achieved before. And I could tell that she was really pushing herself to get there. And one of the things that I noticed was I asked her, so do you look at the timer when you do your plank? And she laughed and she was like, of course, like I'm counting down. I'm waiting for the time to be over. And so I told her, yeah, me too. However, this is where the mindset comes in. And so I encouraged her. I said, you know what? Let's think of this as a mindset exercise. Once you start that timer, you're going to turn that phone over and you're not going to look at the timer at all. And then it's going to be a whole mental game because you're going to be thinking like, what time is it? Do I drop? I like, this is too challenging for me. And I said, this is where the fun happens, because then you start to learn, like, you get to sit in the discomfort. And nobody likes sitting in the discomfort, but change happens when you break down those barriers. And so whether it's physical or mental, the mindset is so important. And to be able to just confront that discomfort and stare it in the face and say, I see you, but we're better than this. We're stronger than this. We can do this. It is so paramount to you seeing those lasting changes that you want to see. Because if you're too afraid to face what's coming up in those tough times, whether you're overspending or whether you're not hitting personal goals on your fitness journey, then it's always going to be a challenge. But if you rise to the occasion and you meet that mindset with the same grit as I challenged my client with the plank, you're going to be so much stronger later on. And it's not just physical strength, it's that mental strength that truly is a testament to your longevity.
So you're going to laugh at me because when I do plank and it's a minute or 2 minute plank, I actually slow down my breathing and just start counting. And,
Amazing.
And
it's like meditation.
It kind of is, but it calms you. And you kind of forget what you're doing and the pain kind of goes away and the time flies. Yeah. So it's all good.
Yeah. And so that's like a common theme that we go through with, like, when I coach my clients too, is we talk about the discomfort. We talk about what's coming up for them. Like, what are the stories that they're telling themselves? Are they telling themselves that I can't do this? Or are you saying that I can, right? Like, the language that we speak to ourselves is so important. And so if we constantly reinforce, I can't, what do you think is going to happen?
No, you won't.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly. And so to be able to mesh the two together, that physical growth, but the mental growth too, is truly the only way forward, because the weight is just a byproduct, just like the debt is just a byproduct. What's truly going on is what's going on inside, right? Internally. We're either a fear of failure or a fear of some sort. And so we're hoarding, or we're stockpiling, or we're not stockpiling, and we're overspending because we're looking for that instant gratification. We're trying to fill like a hole that we haven't addressed. And so that's why mindset is so important, no matter what you're doing, is that you have to confront what's going on inside in order for those long-term changes to actually take effect.
Okay. So because of your answer, I'm going to take it to the next level now, and we're going to get personal.
Let's do it.
Because I see, we follow each other on Instagram. I see all your posts,
Yeah.
And your posts are brave, they're transparent, they are in your face. You talk about your struggles with binge eating, you talk about your struggles
Yeah.
with emotional eating, you talk about the weight that you were, the weight that you are.
Mhm.
Like, you are just out there, and you're so honest and brave with your honesty. So, how did you get to this level? Um, and what advice can you give to others who are struggling the same way that you used to struggle, or even struggling in a similar way?
Mhm.
What can you say to somebody who has is going through what you've been through?
Yeah, I think that it really all comes down to what we just talked about is the mindset. And I love how this is so related because for me, what the true transformation was for me in my fitness journey, having like I lost over 60 pounds, I had to confront things like the stress eating, the binge eating, the overeating, the lack of self worth, the isolation, fearing of failure, all of that sort of stuff was coming up for me in my journey. And it wasn't in achieving the weight loss, it was in addressing those challenges that I then lost the weight or overcame the eating habits as a byproduct. And I think that that's something that no diet out there is going to teach you how to do. And
Mhm.
that's why so many people fail is that they think that following a meal plan or hiring a trainer or paying for a program is going to fix what's going on in the inside. And it's not going to be helpful unless you have that mentor or that guidance in being able to get to those places and really identify what's going on in your life. And so for me personally, I had to do the work and it took a long time. And I had to really confront my feelings of self-worth and not being confident and not wanting to show up for myself or to be in photos or to the way that I looked in clothes. Like nothing was, all of that was coming up for me. And the only way that I was able to change was I had to work on the inside first. I had to really work on the positive self-talk and I had to work on the fundamental mindset shifts that needed to happen in order for that change to be long term. Because you can throw spaghetti at the wall, but it might not always stick, right? You
True.
have to work on the inside. And that is truly the key to what I saw in my journey as being change and long term transformation. And I think specifically too with people who struggle with binge eating and overeating or overspending, it is really a psychological issue. And this is why when I work with my clients too, it's like we tackle that first because you have to. You're not going to be able to make long term lifestyle changes until we uncover that first. And so that's what I would say would be my recommendation to anyone else struggling in their fitness journey. And they've tried all the things before and they struggle with overeating and they just can't seem to get to the root. The root is mental. And so you have to go there, even if it's uncomfortable. I know because I've been there. But uncovering that and dealing with that will help you to make those changes last in the long term.
So, Larissa, in closing, how can we connect to you and learn more about your services?
Yes. Well, I would be so excited to hang out with you guys on Instagram. I'm at Larissa Nicole Fitness on Instagram. You can join me in my Facebook group too. It's called Strong and Supported. Or you can visit me at my website at larissanicolefitness.com. I also have a fun little gift for everyone because I know how hard it is to get started and to stay consistent. And a lot of the things that we talked about today do have to do with those small habits and making those small changes. So I actually have something called my Training and Activity Consistency Creator. It literally helps to create more consistency in your everyday routine. And so it comes with a printable calendar where you're going to just log all of the days that you can commit to doing either a workout or maybe it's just going for a walk. And then you're going to check that off every single day. And there's instructions for how to do it. There's training log guides in there for you as well. There's even a sample workout if you want to try it, but there's so many resources in there to help you just get started in any capacity, whatever that looks like for you. And so that link will be available and you guys can download it and check it out.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much, Larissa. It was great to speak to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved this.
And hopefully when all this is over, I'll see you soon and we'll go for a nice walk.
Yeah, or you can join. Well, I'll join you for a workout. We can work those Madonna arms together.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Take care.
Bye.
If you're struggling with both weight and debt, remember that the solutions are very similar. Small changes consistently applied over a long period of time produce big results. And also remember that it's very difficult. It is not easy, because if it were easy, we would all be very thin and very rich. But would we actually be happy? That's the bigger question. That's why the results are so valuable. Whatever you do, do it for yourself. Do it for you, not for someone else or for validation from your followers on social media. If you like this video, click like. Please read the disclaimer in my YouTube description because it really is important. And please look out for my next episode and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You'll automatically get new video alerts, and follow me on Twitter @Naumovski. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.